This is the Bears Barroom Radio Network. Parental discretion is advised.
Hey, sports fans, this is world champion handicapper Mike North. Punch this number in your phone right now. If you're driving, pull over. 1-800-808-3419. 1-800-808-3419 for a free pick and info for the premier handicapping site in the country, VegasScoresAndOdds.com. It's the only site you'll ever need with expert handicappers like John Anthony, Denny Macklin, Tony Sacco, Ray Monahan, yours truly, and many more. Check out the homepage of VegasScoresAndOdds.com for a tote board with your buddy. Follow Vegas Scores and Odds on Twitter and dial up 1-800-808-3419. It's 1-800-808-3419, 1-800-808-3419, or go to VegasScoresAndOdds.com.
Here we go, Barflies. Welcome to the Barfly Tailgate Show. You already know it's done by Barflies, for Barflies, and all the other Bears fans out there. Well, it's officially the offseason for those Chicago Bears. Season that was, supposed to be promising and had everybody's hopes and dreams just up there and people walking around like Big Dick Nick talking shit. And, this is where we're at. We've finished at 500 and we're done for. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into some offseason moves, some re-signs, hires, fires, and everything in between. I'm joined by the boys in the bar room, Mr. Ryan Badgley. Badge of honor. What it do, Badgie Boo?
Yo, what's up, fellas? The season is over. Now the playoffs have started, and we're sitting the fuck at home. Yes, it's sad, but true. Couldn't do enough this season, man, but a big off season coming up. Plenty to get into. Obviously, heading down to the Senior Bowl with Aldo and Danny, and we'll be doing some stuff from down there, representing Barroom, maybe handing out a badge of honor while we're there, hopefully.
Nice.
So a lot of stuff to look forward to in the off season, and a lot of stuff as far as this team and how they can get better. And on Draft on Tap, we're really going to start focusing in on prospects that the Bears really could be looking at to improve this team and hopefully get us back to the playoffs next season. So really excited, for the offseason to be here. Sad we're not in it, but excited for what's coming up over the next few months.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, one of the worst things about the offseason is going to be watching Mahomes and Watson progress with their teams. And then every time, almost every player, every win, we're going to hear some fucking comparison there because that shit's just never going to die. That's going to be – not that it really upsets me because whatever, pick's your pick. You're not going backwards. And there's so many people that were drafted above other people in the league that are Hall of Famers and what ifs, all that shit. But I just hate fucking when everybody just decides to start throwing it out there.
Yeah. It's all what ifs, man. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every pick in the draft is a what if. And you don't, we don't know, the scouts don't know, the coaches don't know what these guys are going to turn out to be until you see them on the field and they get seasons under their belts, Like that's the thing. So, but we'll see, baby.
Yeah, for sure. Next, we got Mr. Ryan Kirkland Billings, KB. He's on the mend. He's with us. He's on the mend. He's he's here for some playoff talk and that. KB, what's something?
Man, I thought I was gonna get a little cutesy name like Bash did. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you want Badge like Boo Boo? You want like Baby Boy K Bizzle?
Yeah, but man, dog, it feels like forever, man, since we talked, man. And like I said, bro, we sitting here on the outside looking in at the playoffs, and you just watch, Watson just pull a game, virtually out his ass to get his team to advance against a hell of a defense, man. So, I mean, it's rough to watch, you know what I'm saying? So, hey, we're here for it, man. We got to talk about how the team can get better, man. We're Bears fans, baby. We're here for it.
Yeah, that's what you said it perfectly. We're Bears fans. That's what we talk about every offseason, how this team can get better. And unfortunately we get a little on that emotional roller coaster of this is it, like we got it. And, here we are. We'll get into all that in a little bit, though. Next, we got Mr. Aaron Current, the bearded Bears fan, AC in the place to be. What up?
What's going on, fellas? Another day being a Bears fan, paying attention. I'm watching the Titans game right now, so I guess they're the closest team to me that's in it, but they got to go through the Patriots, so that's not going to be easy for them, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And then, I think if they beat the Patriots, they end up going to Baltimore. But if the Patriots win, that's a rough fucking road to travel for Tennessee. But if the Patriots win, then we'll have the Mahomes against Brady showdown for that one. I think that's how this one's going to end up because of the game earlier. But either way, let's get into this thing. The Bears made a couple moves this week. I guess we just start off with the Bojack re-signing. Badge, I'll come over to you. Bojack, 4 years, $58.4 million. Shored this dude up. He came out with his little thankful tweets and posts and that, and that Mr. Ryan Pace took a shot on me, and whatever. I owe everything to the organization and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a guy that they just re-signed. So I wanted them to re-sign him, right? I don't care about the money, really. It's like 22 mil guaranteed, and it's about 14 mil over the seasons. Like on average, obviously, I think it's backloaded to where the back two are a little higher. But, we moved him around a little bit this season. We had him playing in the opposite side and moved him to strong safety a couple times. And it's coming off of a year where, everybody says this defense didn't produce. They still produced similar numbers as last year besides the turnovers. Yep. You good with this lockup and locking down Bojack and keeping him around here, man? Or you think it's too high, or did you want to see something else get done?
No, not at all. I think this was the correct move, but now it's pairing a strong safety with Eddie so he can be that center fielder that we want and need him to be that guy making impact plays, getting pick sixes, taking it to the house. Clearly this past season, while the defense wasn't, that bad statistically, you look at the turnover numbers and they were down. There wasn't, the pick sixes, the fumble returns for touchdowns, all across that defense. But to get Eddie locked up, now it's ensuring that we use him the right way, and that's in that center fielder role, and there were times we saw him in that role this season, and he misplayed the ball a couple times. The one that really stands out in my mind is that Giants game when the Giants scored a touchdown late in the fourth quarter, and Eddie's back there deep, and he just misjudges the ball. So, we did see him back there, but when he's being moved around the field, he's coming up, playing the run, which I thought he did a nice job playing the run. He's still not the greatest tackler in my opinion, but I think this is a move the Bears needed to make. You do not want him to hit the open market because how hard it is to find these guys. And this was smart, get him locked up. And now let's get a guy in here that, obviously, we couldn't afford to pay Adrian Amos last year, and look at the money he got from Green Bay. But we need a guy, I don't want to say just like Adrian Amos, but very similar. Him and Eddie paired well together. Clearly, Ha is not the guy. And you got to be positive going into the offseason. We listened to Pace and Nagy and Ted Phillips and George McCaskey and, everything they said over the last week. And I think this is a great start to the offseason, getting Eddie re-signed. And from here, sky's the limit for Eddie.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I think it's the first puzzle piece that should have fell and needed to get locked up. And I agree with the positional thing. The dude's athletic as hell. He can play pretty much everywhere in that
Yeah.
secondary. But when you put him in his home, you know what I mean? When you give him the freedom to roam, to jump routes, to read,
Yep.
he's like, I know it's the comparison, but he's the best center fielder out there.
Absolutely, man.
And when he's able to do that shit, it definitely changes the game. And you've seen it a little bit this year where he had the freedom to jump routes and do things. And every now and then he made the wrong, he chose the wrong thing.
Yep.
But I mean, you just got to be able to live with it, right? And then be able to kind of throttle him back in those fourth quarter moments like you're talking about with the Giants, to where like, hey, dude, you're just deeper than the deepest on this one. Like, it's the fourth quarter. Like,
Yep.
you don't get to jump a fucking under route this time. Like, keep your ass back there. You're literally our last line of defense in this. But yeah, I agree with signing. I think it's good. I really don't care about the money.
Nah, not at all.
I mean,
we hear it all the time. Phil says it. Cap's fluid. It's going up. The money is really non-issue to me, and I feel like it always will be.
Yeah, I mean, I am one that's not. I'm not a big believer in like, whatever, we can get whoever we want and spend this, spend that. I mean, as long as it's done correctly, right?
Right,
you can't,
correct.
Obviously, there's teams that suffer from the fucking salary cap.
Yep.
So as long as the proper decisions are made and you kind of spread out the who's getting what in which year and this and that, because we're gonna have a lot of holes to fill, and we'll get into that here in a little while. We're gonna have a lot of guys that are going to be testing the market or have the ability to test the market, and we can't just walk around throwing fucking millions on top of millions at people. AC, over to you, man. Bojack, secondary shirt up, man. I mean, we got Fuller, of course, right? He's still there. You're going to have Bojack. Prince is probably out the door. Haha's, whether or not they bring him back on another 1 year, I highly doubt, but I guess it's a possibility. What's your thoughts of this secondary and shoring up Bojack?
I think Badge hit the nail on the head. We locked him up long term, and now you got to find a strong safety to go with him. Obviously, Kyle Fuller is the ultimate professional. He took a pay cut to help us pay Eddie Jackson, and just like you said, with Amukamara heading out the door, that'll give Tolliver or some, if we decide to draft a corner high, that'll give somebody a shot over at the other side corner. But I really like what we got in Tolliver. I like where we're at in the secondary, especially if Matt can get back up to the sack numbers and we get Akeem Hicks back. Everything starts up front, offensively and defensively. Yep. If you're getting pressure on your quarterback, they're gonna make dumb throws, and that's when Bojack's right there to take it to the house. I mean, everything, they build off it. They build off each other. So I'm step for step with Badge. We just got to get a strong safety, and I think Tolliver can prove himself next year if he's given the ability to.
Yeah, I think Tolliver's promising. I wouldn't say that I'm not in the lines that he's a starter promising. I mean, he did well when he was put in this year. Last year, he really didn't. He made a couple plays here and there, but, like for the times that he was targeted, the dude was giving up, I want to say well over half completions for the times that they threw during man coverage at his guy. But, I mean, some of them were, I forget exactly what it was, so I'm just.
Well, I know the big play that he gave up against Dak was just a perfectly placed ball. He was playing good defense on it, and Dak just dropped it in the bucket. And fucking Deion Sanders in his day couldn't have covered that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I'm not talking this season. I'm talking last season when he got had more of a role in there. But either way, I think the kid's building, and it's kind of fortunate, right, that he's not thrown into a starting role right away. He's had a couple seasons to build now, and hopefully this offseason we see, a lot of maturation with him. And you got Pagano, who started off as a secondary dude, and maybe he's the perfect dude to to go ahead and build the secondary up. And like you said, everything starts up front. So we're going to need to see, some more pressures, make quarterbacks force some more throws. And one thing that I think was like, maybe I'm just kind of off because it's just by watching, right? Last year there was a lot of batted balls. There was a lot of tip balls up in the air. DBs were getting their hands in there and kind of popping them. I can think of 2 of Bojack's returns now that were balls that were just popped up in the air, and he, got underneath that, that tip drill and fucking took it to the house. This year I didn't really see a lot of balls batted up like that, or like giving the defensive back there a time to get under the ball or anything. There was a lot of, just kind of, I won't say soft coverage, but it's just a different coverage set in that the Fangio was using. But it's not that I think that it's bad. It may limit turnovers a little more because we're not, actually getting in there and tip. Ooh, that was almost a touchdown. And hitting that thing. I'm watching the Patriot game right now too. Patriot Titans. Let's go over to KB. KB, I think we wrapped up Bojack. Let's bounce to the other side. The only move that we've really seen so far is the hiring of Juan Castillo. Dude spent 12 years with the Eagles. He did a stint with Baltimore. Did a stint with Buffalo. He's kind of been back and I won't say he's kind of been back and forth. They tested him out on the other side of the ball as a defensive coordinator, and that lasted 1 season. But I mean, it's a guy who's got a lot of knowledge. He's, he knows Nagy. They've worked together in the past. And we've seen, the release of Helfrich and the release of Heastand and even tight end. We'll get into this, but one of the firings that I think maybe should have taken a little time was the tight end coach, Kevin Gilbride. He's done, but I don't think you really gave that dude a lot of ammunition. But back to Castillo, man, what do you think of the hiring? You know anything about him, or is there anything that you looked, or what do you think about the way they're bringing the student here?
Before we get on Castillo, I second what you say about this, the Kevin Gilbride firing, bro. Like, you had the man using practice squad tight ends, and him coached up. Like, I don't understand that firing at all. But neither here nor there. As far as Castillo, man,
we'll get back to that in a minute because I got a lot of that on that too.
So as far as the Castillo hiring, from what I've seen, I watched somebody had posted a breakdown where he took it to the whiteboard and was, explaining the zone blocking scheme and what you have your linemen do. It was pretty poetic in the fact that the tape he was breaking down was against the Bears. So you are watching this and you watch how they combo block to one side, and I sit there and I think, like, bro, did we have any of that this year? Was there times that we actually got to see poetry in motion like this? And you get on that same page and saying, maybe this man he knows what the scheme is, obviously, because he spent time working under the Eagle system and so on and so forth. So it kind of lends to what Draft Dr. Phil and everybody's saying, man. The scheme just didn't fit, and he didn't know how to coach up the blocking. So I'm praying that this Castillo guy gets it. You know what I'm saying? I know he's bounced around. I've seen he's a defensive coordinator for a year and whatever. But I mean, from my understanding, he has to respect around the league as an offensive line coach. They're not saying bad things about the guy, and so far they're calling this an A+ hiring. But you know what I'm saying? We all know what that means.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
I have. You know what I'm saying? You kind of get your hopes up for it, because if you can see any kind of blocking like how he was showing for the Ravens, if that's what he can get for us, oh man, the sky's the limit in the running game, and that can get you excited, man. That can get you real excited. So that's as far as I know about him. I know that he's respected. I know that he has the knowledge. He understands blocking schemes, and he knows what he wants his offensive lineman to do. And the simple fact that he knows this offensive system. Yeah. That's all I need.
And I think it's like there's a thing with me, right? Like I remember last year when we were talking about Heastand, we were like, well, he was once promising and this and that, and he's supposed to be the best. But then again, he's been out of the NFL for a little while, and the NFL changed. It definitely changed, and we knew that we were going to be a pass-heavy offense. And he the guy for an offensive line like that? Can he teach an RPO? And I mean, obviously, there's more than just his coaching. I think that was missing. I think there's, I'm just totally speculating, but there's some. When you can easily dismiss a coach right after your last game and just be like, okay, this guy's out, this guy's out, this guy's out, there's got to be more to it than just professional. I think that, it's like, hey, it's time to turn house. And now it's on Nagy. Like this year is just, it's just going to be on him.
Well, and that's the thing too, Bobby, is I don't mean to cut you off, but they sat there, and 2 hours later is when they announced all these firings. And while I was on the
you're talking about at the presser?
At the presser. So they sat at the presser, we're looking at everything, we're going to really take a look. Well, they knew clearly before the presser of who was going to be gone. So obviously Heastand was going to be gone. Helfrich, we had talked about it, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the other shows on Bears Barroom Radio Network talked about it as well, that we figured he would be a scapegoat. The guy that is still here that I'm surprised with, and maybe all the cards haven't fallen yet, is Dave Ragone. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's, to me, with Heastand, just the techniques. I mean, you heard Phil say it week over week over week, on last call after games, your offensive linemen are firing out, standing straight up. That's what you're teaching, Harry? And then Cody Whitehair snapping the football by holding the top of the football? I just found it hard to believe that those would be Harry Heastand's techniques, but then you hear that him and Helfrich were responsible for the run game. Well, while part of that is their fault for sure, Nagy don't like to run the football, guys. Let's be honest. I mean, you saw it in the playoff loss when he was still with Kansas City, and then most of the season, Mitch threw the ball one time, 53 times in a game? So, while I definitely think Heastand should have been gone, I don't think all of this falls on them. I think they're just the guys that, hey, we got to do something here, so, let's get rid of these guys.
Yeah, I agree, man. You could bring, I was talking to one of the guys I work with. He's a big Bears fan too. I mean, and we were talking about the hire and Heastand being fired and Helfrich kind of being the scapegoat. Yep. But you could bring the best run game coordinator in here, the fucking top of the line. If there was some way to value and number who this, that, and this was, right? And I know everybody's like, well, that's stats or this. And if you could figure it out, if there was a no shit way to fucking judge it, right? You could bring the very best one in here. But if you're throwing the ball fucking 46 times, 52 times a game and not running the ball, then it's fucking useless.
Yeah, what does it matter?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if you got a guy who's great, fucking best coach at teaching the fucking power run, the power I or fucking whatever, and you're going to run damn RPOs and not be in the power run game, well, you're kind of limiting his ability of what he brings to this team. And I think that's, honestly, it's kind of something that Nagy does in all aspects, like down and distance. He's not using the guys to what they're the best at, and it's just kind of been a trend. And you can have the best fucking bridge builder in the world or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely, dude.
I feel like he doesn't fucking put people where they will succeed the most.
It's the personnel decisions that he makes,
Yeah.
or if it's he, Stan, Helfrich, whoever is grouping the personnel together, clearly doesn't understand what's going on. I mean, the usage of some of these guys in situations is sometimes baffling on the field.
Yeah, for sure, man. And like, just to go, I know we said we come back, but just to touch on the Kevin Gilbride firing, man, I think I don't know you gave this dude nothing.
Yeah, you gave him shit.
You gave him a fucking cup of water and told him to go wash it, go detail a fucking Yukon. And you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And he did okay. Like, with what he had and the people that we kind of brought in off the street and whatever. I know the tight end position was fucking horrible for us this year, but I will say that as a tight ends coach, I think with what he was given, he did okay. Maybe it's his, his philosophy. Maybe it's the way that he wanted to use compared to whatever. But I think letting him go or getting rid of him he's been in the Nagy offense now for 2 years. He should know what the coach wants to do, and starting over with somebody else just seems kind of odd to me when you haven't really given this guy anything to fucking go off of.
Well, that's what I mean. You Trey Burton now obviously was not healthy ever after the last game he played last season. And so now you have him have the surgery in the offseason. Still didn't feel right. You trot him out there for a couple weeks, and he clearly was very ineffective. And then you have Adam Shaheen, who, if he's not injured, I mean, he's not a factor. He will never be anything in this offense. I just don't see it at all. So then, you had opportunity for guys that showed out in training camp that were talked about by the head coach after some of the preseason games and some of the camps that excuse me, I'm sorry, I have a cough drop. You're letting walk, and they're signed by other organizations. So guys that you could have had in here that made plays for you in the preseason could have been making plays for you during the regular season while you allowed a Trey Burton and Adam Shaheen to try to stay healthy. That could have made an impact right away. Instead, you're dicking around week over week with Bradley Sowell. Well, why does that fall on Kevin Gilbride? Yeah. To me, the dumbest decision, one of the two dumbest decisions this team made in the offseason was converting Sowell from an offensive lineman to a tight end because he caught one fucking touchdown pass.
Yeah, and then staying loyal to him.
And week over week, no matter what, the guy was getting paid. It's just the fact that Gilbride, I think Gilbride got a raw deal, but, more has to come out of this tight end position. And if Burton and Shaheen are on this roster come week 1 next season, they better be ready to fucking produce. That's all I know.
Well, I think
sure Burton will be because we still owe him quite a bit of money. But I don't know about Shaheen. And I know we don't see anything in him, but maybe somebody sees that size and they try to trade, I don't know, a 4th-round pick or something for him, 5th-round pick.
Patriots.
I'd take that. Oh, yeah. Fucking Pats. They ain't got nobody. But I wanted to touch on the O-line coach before we move on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Charles Leno has had a shitty year. There's no two ways about it. But last year, he was a good left tackle. And people act like he's just done, bench him, trade him, cut him, whatever, get rid of him. Maybe a good offensive line coach that meshes well with Nagy can get him back to a serviceable left tackle and maybe save his ass. And also,
it's about get the whole offensive line back to being serviceable.
Right. I would also like to see them. I love Cody Whitehair, but I really want to see James Daniels in that position, and maybe an O-line coach can get him right. Maybe he'll never be a center. I don't know, but I feel like like he was saying, snapping the ball from the top of the football. I mean, just think about the mechanics of it. You're not going to get it there at the exact right spot every single time snapping it like that, in my opinion. And nobody that I've ever seen is taught like how to snap like that. I don't know where he even came up with snapping like that.
I remember last year they had started him snapping that way because he had kept having the snapping issues. I remember them specifically saying that was I want to say they said it was a rugby style snap or some shit like that.
Yeah, I've seen it done a lot. There's actually a few teams that do it, and I've seen a lot of high school teams do it because you're not going over the quarterback's head with that one. It's not a philosophy style. It's hey, this player's got an issue, but he's our best bet right now to put there. So let's go ahead and do it like this.
Okay. Yeah, my cousin, he played center in high school, and he was showing me how to try to snap it. And like when he snapped, it was a fucking spiral back to the quarterback. And then he's already got his hand in place on the fucking laces, ready to throw if he's throwing. You know what I'm saying? And I had never seen it done the way Cody Whitehair's done it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the whole. Obviously that the offensive line fucking didn't meet any expectations this year, and I think that's kind of what I was getting at with the Heastan firing. I think a lot of that is being put on Heastan.
Yeah.
These guys, you don't fall from grace that far without injuries, without, because, I mean, Kyle Long's really the main one. I think he's done, right? He's done with, and we know that's just an injury thing. I mean, I thought he was great as a Bear. I think he's great fucking on social media. I think he's fucking great all over. The dude. I
think he's got a future in broadcasting. I'd love to see him commentating somewhere.
Yeah, but for the offensive line to drop that far, I think it's definitely on the coach. And maybe this guy comes in and Castillo comes in and does his thing and gets them back to where they need to be. But it's also another position that we're going to need some pieces. I mean, I know we were talking. I think Trey Burton. I agree with you on the Trey Burton thing. I think he's back for another season. He just had hip surgery on that torn labrum. So, when his surgery is done with, he's in the recovery process. He's still got 2 years left out of a 4-year.
I think this year is the most money on it.
Yeah,
I think after this,
it's like a 4-year, 30-some mil, and he's going to be in year 3 on that. So maybe he's a guy that they can rework a contract. Like, hey man. Yeah. I think you only played 8 games this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes with him. But, other things, I mean, we can get into free agents right now. I know everybody's on the same quarterback train. We need to draft one. We need to bring in a veteran, and we need to go from there. I just think that this offseason is going to be a lot different than last offseason. The feelings and expectations need to be checked at the door. When this year started, we were talking about Trubisky breaking touchdown records as a Bear and, doing this and that and the whole over-under thing. Everybody was on the over, like this many touchdowns, this many rushing yards. And we're coming into an offseason, and I know Badge and Danny will be just all over all the draft coverage and everything. But we're coming into an offseason where we're going to have 22 free agents. 6 of them are restricted, and the rest are just free to roam and go and see what the market does. So there's a lot of guys and a lot of positions, a lot of special teams players that we're gonna need to replace. KB, I know, obviously, I think quarterback is on everybody's mind as one of the most important positions, but there isn't really a positional group that we can say is shored up and ready to go. I mean, you got Roquan, he's about to have a surgery, right? You got Floyd out there as outside linebacker, who we're all talking about, hey, we need another edge guy, this and that. Defensive line, we're like, yeah, let's pair somebody else up with Akeem. Secondary, we're going to need a fill for Prince. Offensive line, we're all saying, damn, yep, we need different guys in here for this and that. Kyle Long's done. I mean, tight end, I think wide receiver might be the only position where we're like, okay, that's solid. Team that had Super Bowl aspirations and expectations to need this many fucking players or this many, it'd be nice to get another guy here. Are we really close to where we thought we are, KB? Or is this, are we looking at a damn maybe slightly above average team that needs a lot of shit to go their way to fucking bring it home?
Right now, man, it's like they said, bro. The record shows what you are. We're an average team. Yeah, we can go out there and slug with the best of them. We can beat some good teams, but there's no consistency. It's that old saying: teams go as their quarterback goes. Ain't that an old saying? We go as our quarterback goes. Mitch Trubisky is inconsistent, so therefore the team is inconsistent. The spots, man. We have superstar players in the right positions that you need superstar players. You have a Khalil Mack. You have a Kyle Fuller that even in his down year, he's still, a top 15 corner. You know what I'm saying? He's still somebody people know about. You got Eddie Jackson, who's starting to become one of the most feared safeties in the league when he's actually playing at the position he needs to be playing at and is not being moved around. But with all that being said, there's always the fact of you need help. Still, you need somebody to take the pressure off of Khalil Mack. You need somebody that says, okay, if you're going to get triple team, man, that means I'm over here just going against this lineman and I'm gonna eat my man's lunch and go after the quarterback and to cause a problem. And right now, you know what I'm saying, you don't have that in Leonard Floyd. We need another cornerback. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what's going to happen with Amukamara. This team is just an above average team right now. And yeah, we should have won a lot more games than we should have. I say a lot more games, meaning we should have won at least 2 more games and finished the year 2-6. I mean 10-6 at that. But then again, that's what happens, man. We settled. They acted like we didn't have any issues, and that kicker was the cure all for this fucking team, and it wasn't. You didn't bring in competition for the outside linebacker. You didn't bring competition in at quarterback. And I know we can sit here and say, hey, man, wide receiver's good. But to me, it's not. I feel like you need somebody who's a legit downfield threat. We don't have the Tyreek Hill of this offense. We have the shorthanded third down, or if you got to get it, wide receiver Allen Robinson. He's a fucking superstar. That's no doubt to me. But you need somebody who's a downfield threat. And Taylor Gabriel ain't it, man. I love Taylor Gabriel as a player, but he ain't it. He doesn't have a 4.3 speed that we thought he had in pads. And that's just the damn truth. So
yeah,
I circle back around to the fact that, man, we're an above average team, man. There's a lot of holes that we had on this team that should have been filled last offseason, but we didn't do it. We stayed pat, and staying pat gets you 8-8.
Yeah. And I mean,
is Anthony Miller having shoulder surgery again too?
He is.
Yes, he is.
And Mitch is possibly going to have surgery. They said that they're still determining whether or not he's going to have it, but it's a possibility that he's going to have surgery. So, I mean, bring him in. He has surgery. Miller, this is his second offseason. It's going to be his second surgery. And like you were saying, to have a player that can take the top off of it. I think Miller is one of those dudes that can take the top off of it just because the way, like the crisp route running and the way that he gets people to bite. But you also have to have protection and time to throw that. I think we had it in the what you want to just call it the Taylor Gabriel game this year, where he went for 3 touchdowns and we had some comfortability and time to throw the ball, right? But you're not going to get that against solid defensive fronts, and that's where, there was other routes that were that were open, and we seen them down the seams. You know, there was wheel routes that were open, but Mitch threw underneath or got rid of it quick because he wasn't fucking comfortable with the protection. And I think that's, you know, another big part, another shot where Nagy doesn't think that Heastand was the guy because he's just not giving him time for his offense to operate.
Right.
You know,
I want to say this real quick because this is something I did want to piggyback off of my boy AC, saying that you want to see James Daniels back at center. This is something that that hasn't been talked about at all. But maybe wouldn't we consider drafting a center? Just moving moving Whitehair back to left guard and trying Daniels out at right guard and leaving it there. You know what I'm saying?
I saw your boy from Michigan just said he was going into the draft. The center from Michigan.
There you go. Because to me, centers don't get drafted in the first, man. If you can get the number one center on the board in the second round, at the beginning of the second round, you slot him in and you move Daniels to right guard and Cody Whitehair to left guard, and then you don't fuck with it. And you get this new guy in, Castile, to teach them the actual system that we need to go with this offense. Then maybe you get Mitch more protection at that point. Maybe that's what he needs.
And you got to let him play in the preseason.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. But I just want to piggyback off of that because, you know what I'm saying, you brought it up and it had got me to thinking. To me, you actually have a better shot at getting the number one center in the second round than getting the number one guard or getting the number one tackle because we know those go in the first round. But, yeah, that's just a thought.
The thing to me with this, though, guys, sorry, Bobby,
go ahead.
is you had a combo that worked with Whitehair at center and Daniels at guard. They really, last season prior to this switch, were playing much better football. You make the move, you don't give them any reps in the preseason, and then for the first 7-8 weeks of the season when they could have switched them at the bye week and didn't, it just wasn't working. So now they make that move and switch it back, so now we're going to switch them again? I mean, I'm all for bringing in competition, and if there's a center out there worthwhile for that and moving each of them to guard, to me, it's the fundamentals. I think you can have a sustained offensive line with the guys you have there other than the right guard position, which obviously needs to be addressed. Do I love Bobby Massey and Charles Leno? I don't. But you saw what Charles Leno was a year ago. That you could see that player again if it's there. And to me, I don't know if moving everybody around again is the way to go. Personally speaking, I don't like it either. Daniels, he tried it. It clearly did not go well. So you had to go back to the guy that was there. You know what I mean? That was something to me that last season, was it last season or 2 seasons ago that Slauson was a free agent and left and went to LA? Could we have brought him back?
Bro, that was like 3 years.
So it was way longer ago. Oh, okay.
I was going to say, that was like 4 years ago.
Oh, shit. All right. Well, he was a guy that I thought would be perfect to keep around just for reasons like this, because he could play both positions. You have Whitehair that I guess can, but I think you've got to leave him at center at this point and really focus on getting Daniels prepared to be your left guard. And all this stuff about, not taking reps in the preseason, we're getting 500 reps, not playing in games. Fuck that. Get your guys out there. Get them on the field. I mean, we're sitting here, we're watching the New England Patriots. Tom Brady plays in the 4th preseason game. Yeah. I don't want to hear that shit anymore.
Yeah.
That to me is bullshit at this point.
That's just a Bears fucking narrative.
Yeah, dude.
Some people want to back him and some don't. And all the people that backed him and saying that he was so smart are now the same people saying that he's fucking an idiot.
Right. But yet here we are at the bar room where the guy's going, they should be playing. They should have put,
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, when they did it at first, I was like, well, okay, the Rams are doing this. Maybe this is the way things are going to start going in the NFL. But, I mean, the Rams are sitting at home too now.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, coming off of a Super Bowl appearance last year, and they're not even there. You know, it's just it's the way the tide turns, man. And who knows? It's not like, I don't know. I guess everything can be questioned, right? Because that's just kind of the way it goes. Everything can be questioned, and you can say that it's this or that. But I mean, when it comes to playing the game and doing it, it's all about repetition. And to say that your guys are good enough or we feel comfortable and not getting them the reps is just kind of fucking asinine. You're basically saying that your guys are better than, you know, the majority of the league who's out there getting reps and building that chemistry. And to say that you do that enough, I think is just ignorance. And
to me, Bobby, that's on the head coach because, you know, now I've never coached football, but I've coached other sports. And, you know, I always had that attitude to my team. Hey, we're better than everybody else. Let's go out and show it. But I would never, you know, let anybody else know that, you know, what I thought. You know what I mean? But Nagy, by doing this, I mean, he's showing the entire league that you've got to be, you know, Green Bay going into week 1 going, hey, boy, these guys fucking think they're really good. They're not playing their starters. They didn't play their starters all preseason. Let's go in and fucking smoke these guys. Now, granted, it was a 10-3 game, but they fucking shut the offense right down. You know, so other teams, the Bears were supposed to be this, hey, these guys, they're prepped, they're going they're ready, they talking Super Bowl. I better not hear those 2 fucking words until we get to the NFC fucking championship game.
Yeah, exactly, man. And to give people rest like that, you would think that you'd have to see things run to perfection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there can't be a fucking time where things are run to perfection. I mean, we were at camp. We seen that shit. That wasn't perfection. There was some good flashy plays, but we also seen a team getting beat up. And then, I don't know, to just be like, oh no, we feel comfortable with where we're at. And this guy, we're really confident in this one. It's all just the fucking, you know, blowing smoke part of it. Like, what are they going to say? They're not going to say fucking, oh, well, we're not really confident in Mitch right now. But, I mean, he's what we got, so he's going to start. Charles looks good. You know, like, they're not going to go into that shit.
But that makes me wonder, too, Bobby. So when you guys were at camp, seeing them at camp and questioning things for the open practices and the practices that weren't open, I mean, it sounds to me like they scrimmaged one time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So what the fuck were they doing? Yeah. So what the fuck were they doing? You know what I mean? Like, were they just going through, you know, the motions, like each practice, going through their drills, and then, okay, let's run, you know, our first 15, our first 20 scripted plays. Okay, let's go to red zone. You know, like, what were they doing? I
honestly think that our past offseason was spent more on the mental build of the players and the playbook than it was the physical and you know what I mean? The physical running of it. I think they tried to force feed the mental piece of understanding this and that. And, you know, there's guys who can read it and look at it and see the play run and kind of understand. And there's guys who actually have to fucking do it and run the play and do this and that. And I'm sure the guys thought that they were comfortable prior to the beginning, right? Like during the offseason, I'm sure the players agreed, like, oh yeah, I've seen that play run fucking this many times and coach broke it down and I know what I'm supposed to do and this and that. But then once the physicality part with executing the mental part of it came to play, we were not near where we thought we were. And I think it was a big fucking, you know, surprise to Nagy, who then was like, shit, what can I run? Like, what can I do here? I know we said it in the past, and you've said it specifically, Badge, but the things that I wanted to see this season, and I get that Nagy's the play caller, and it's him making the decisions on what's going to be run. But if you run something and it gets blown up because the offensive line didn't block correctly, Nagy needs to fucking light up the offensive line coach.
Absolutely.
Take a walk down the line. Like maybe if you're a player's coach, and I don't really like to berate or yell at a player on the field because he's said that before. That's fine. Go fucking blast the coach.
Yep.
Go let the the group of those dudes, that positional group, see you just laying into their dude, because that's the way they feel. We all know how the defense felt about Vic, and remember the whole gangster photo or the mob photo, whatever you want to say, the Godfather photo. Like, the respect that the positional groups or the sides of the ball have in their main coach. Be the head coach and go fuck that dude up, and I guarantee that positional group or that other side of the ball, whatever, they react, and they there's a fire lit. And to not hold anybody accountable during a game is another big thing, whether it's a player or a coach. It's another big thing. I think that he, I know it's his style, but I think it's something that needs to be done, man. And
we talked about that, Bobby, a few weeks ago, the play in Green Bay where, he doesn't want to mention it in his post-game presser because he doesn't want to give. No, what's with the soft pussiness of, really the whole country at this point? You know what I mean? Everybody's so afraid to do something. This franchise is the inaugural franchise of the NFL. They've been around 100 years, and for your 100th season, you just shit down your leg. That can't happen this year. It can't. You can't follow this season up with a similar performance, or God forbid a fucking worse performance. You've got to come out and coach. I know they said it. I'm going to take some time, and then I'm going to self scout. Well, I've heard that for the last fucking 2 years about self scouting.
Yeah.
There's no fucking self scouting going on here. So you know what? If you want to self scout, bring somebody in then from the outside and let them self-scout, because clearly it's not happening. And I don't know if that's because somebody's afraid, the person that's responsible for that is afraid to say that. Well, then you've got the wrong guy in that position, because I don't want to hear that shit anymore.
Nagy's more worried about what play he's going to call next. He's not. You don't see him going up and down the sideline. He's got his face in his playbook.
Yep.
Which could be an issue.
I'm willing to. If we don't do better, he never thinks it's the play call.
I agree.
He's stubborn, man, and he's set in his ways. And if we miss the playoffs next year, we might be looking like the Browns, back at square one with a new GM, a new head coach, trying to find a new quarterback. And it sucks, but that might be. It might be what we have to do. I don't know.
But that's the funny thing. You think back to the beginning of the season, and you looked at the players the Browns acquired, and everybody thought, "Wow, this team's going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
that they got to be the Super Bowl favorite." Where are they? They're fucking sitting home too. So it is all about execution and coaching. And Shane and Phil, they say it all the time. They're not just saying it to say it. It's 100%. The truth. It's all about execution. And when you're not doing enough to get out there and run it on the field, which clearly it wasn't done this past offseason, it's not going to work. So they've got to change everything, throw out everything they did last offseason, because it's fucking shit, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully they see that too, and they're self-scouting if they do this offseason. You got to. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Yep. So you got to change something, Matt Nagy.
Yeah, I honestly, I know I was saying it a little bit ago, but I'm willing to bet that Nagy never thinks that the issue is the play call. He thinks the issue is the execution, or how somebody ran the play that he called. I think that's where he's at right now, and that's what needs to change in the offseason. He needs to know whether or not you can't believe in your play more than you believe in your players.
Fuck a
your
play.
Players, your players have to be able to execute what you're doing. But I don't know. I'm just willing to bet that he's like, oh well, this would have worked if this guy just did this.
Dude, totally. I mean, you see it in
one block.
yeah.
We're good. Yeah.
You see it in his play calls. I mean, when he's running fucking double reverse after a big play.
The press conference. And they say, what happened here? Well, in Buffalo in 2016, it fucking worked fine. Like, come on, dude.
Fuck.
But this is what drives me nuts with Nagy. First down, they jam Montgomery or Cohen or whoever's back there into the line for a yard. Then they run a screenplay for a yard or two. Then you're at 3rd and 8. You know what I'm saying? We don't have a tight end to stretch the field. You got Allen Robinson, who's a fucking baller. You got Anthony Miller, who has all the tools to succeed, but up until the last month of the year, he wasn't doing a whole lot either. So when your offense is behind the sticks in the first fucking place, it makes it hard. I mean, even as a play caller, it makes it hard to get those first. I mean, trying to get 8 yards every fucking 3rd down.
Yeah, especially when you're, well, we're going to stay ahead of the chains and this and that, you know what I mean? And then you just don't, I don't know, man. It's just the play calls and the execution of the play calls is just not where you are to have people resting and sitting during the preparation or the, like the prepared phase of the offseason. And I don't know. There's a lot to be questioned, and I think this next season is going to be a prove it type style, and see where we go. I mean, and with that, with our fall from grace, right? Even though I know I've called it a fall from grace. We're still 500 team, but the expectations were definitely not where we thought they would. Did not reach where we thought that they would go. KB, coming at you, dude. Is this a spot where free agents want to come now? I know last year we were saying, people are going to want to come here. We got a great fucking deal on the haha coming in, right? Is this team with everything that we've seen and all the talk and the, play calling and this and that, is this a location where players want to come be a free agent?
Man, it's hard to say because you don't know how how the league really feels about Mr. Trubisky. And I kind of feel like that's always going to be the major selling point. What's your quarterbacking situation?
Yeah.
If the league can see the wild plays and say, if he can just do that, then maybe, maybe you can get the draw of, man, they got Khalil Mack, man, they got Roquan Smith, they got Eddie Jackson, they got Kyle Fuller. That defense is packed. They got Akeem Hicks. They got all these stars on defense, man. If we just went there, we could really make something. But we're not privy to that. We don't know. I mean, if I was a free agent, if I took my fan bias out of it, you know what I'm saying? I would look at this team and say, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go spend 3 or 4 years on this team because if they have another shitty season, they're looking for a new quarterback. They're possibly looking for a new head coach, possibly looking for a new GM. You could just really just be going there because, I can get paid. But then again, they might be taking a pay cut to come to Chicago. So, no, right now, man, like I said, taking the fan bias out of it, I would have to say no. I would really have to say no, all because of your head coach and your quarterbacking situation. So unless you're you know what I'm saying, you're a free agent quarterback and you're like, shit, they're quarterback away.
I think it depends on the position.
You know what I'm saying? It depends on the position, bro. But right now, man, I just can't see it. I can't. The offense that's what you have to look at. It's in too much flux. there's too many moving parts to sit there and say, this is the first place on my list.
I agree,
But-
man. And like last year, we were, hey, this is going to be a spot where free agents want to come because we're on the cusp, and the whole league believed that. Everybody believed that the Bears were on the cusp, especially after they, the season they had last year, and it was a team to where you get these veterans who want a ring that'll take a team-friendly deal. You get these guys that want to play with this, with this style of, and I guess I'll just say fun, right? Like with the defensive turnovers, and they're celebrating and club dub and this and that, right? And there's dudes that were like, yo, I want to be part of that. Like that's where I want to go. And I don't know if that effect is still there, man. I don't know if it's now, if we're at a point now where the money has to be right in order for somebody to come there, and it's not like, well, I mean, I'd go there for this, but I really want to get this, like let's go in with this top dollar one, and then if they come back with this, I'm willing to take it because I really want to play there. I don't think that that's where they're at right now. And I know we're back to talking a little money and talking free agent signings and that, and there's still a lot of spots we could free up. We got a month. We have to get rid of Floyd within the next month. I think it's February. The end of February is the deadline because we took the 5th-year option on Floyd last year, but we can rescind it by, I want to say it's by February. I think by March 1st it has to be rescinded if you're going to do it. So that'll free up $13 million right there, right? But this dude's he's on a 1-year, $13 million contract next year. So that tag needs to be, that 5th-year option needs to be rescinded, not the tag. But I don't know, man. It's just it's a little bothersome, right? And then again, I think maybe if you look at it, these dudes understand the NFL and understand, like, yeah, sometimes the season just don't go your way.
Yeah.
But we've seen this happen in LA, right? On the Rams, you see a lot of players, big name players, going there on not top dollar contracts because they believed in the system. And I think right now we're gonna have to check ourselves and see exactly what we get, and without overpaying. I don't know how many of these top dudes that are out there that we want that we're going to get. AC, what's your thoughts, man? Is this a place where people see themselves coming and staying, or is this a team that's now, had some promise and now is just a big question mark?
Well, I think like I was trying to cut in earlier with KB, it's all about the position. I'm just going to name off a couple guys. Eric Ebron, I don't know if he played with Mitch. I know they were both at North Carolina together. He's a free agent tight end, and he sees, if he takes a look around the league at other offenses that were supposed to be like, the Philadelphia Eagles have Zach Ertz, the Kansas City Chiefs have Travis Kelce, the Chicago Bears have J.P. Holtz. He's like, well, I could plug myself right in there. You know what I'm saying? A guy like Brandon Scherf, the right guard from the Washington Redskins, he sees our O-line in shambles. He sees Kyle Long's retired, and our right guard is a young guy who played D-line, and maybe he's like, well, I can go there and plug myself right in. I don't know if we're like a guy who's on his last legs trying to get a Super Bowl ring like an AJ Green. I don't see him saying, yeah, I want to go play in Chicago. I think he's going to go somewhere like New England or Baltimore or something like that. But I just think it's a position by position base, and some people just want money. I don't know if Ebron's one of those guys. It's just like I'm gonna go get paid. I don't give a fuck where I'm playing at. You know what I'm saying? But I'm biased. I can't sit here and say that I could take my fandom out of it. You know what I'm saying? If I was an NFL player, I'd want to play in Chicago because I've been a Bears fan my whole life. But I can't. I just don't have that ability to turn off my fandom.
Yeah. And I mean, like you brought up about Ebron, Ebron's last year in North Carolina was Mitch's first year. So they had practices together. Mitch ran the offense a couple times there like that. They didn't actually have any games together that I know of, but you seen last year in the Pro Bowl, right, where Ebron had
they were
sent
hanging
some
out
stuff. Yeah. And then even this year, Ebron came out just last week with a tweet, like it was something against or off of the Bears, but it was basically Ebron showing interest or maybe trolling the fucking Bears, but he sent out.
I was gonna say
Go ahead.
was a smiley face emoji. It was a smiley face emoji. Went to the article of the Bears saying that Mitch was going to be the starter next year.
And wasn't there? There was some tight end comments in there though, right?
I was gonna say it was I don't know if he said anything about actually joining the Bears, but I do know that there was also a report that he had talked about Mitch in the 1 year of him being there. And that when he came on campus and he just started throwing the ball to people, that Ebron was caught by surprise. Like, man, who the hell is this fucking kid? He's out here spinning the ball. And he's like, he knew then that the kid was going to be something special. So, I don't know what you take from that. I will say this. I know that I said when Detroit let go of Ebron before the Trey Burton thing, I always thought Ebron would have been a good fit because I just felt like he wasn't utilized correctly in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen his last year or 2 years ago now, but in Indy, he was killing it. Yeah,
13 touchdowns or something.
Killing it with luck, man.
I don't know. I'm not going to get teased by this, man. But I do know that those were the things that were said, and that he did smiley face emoji, the damn article on Twitter, and people went nuts. So
yeah, I mean, we got a little ways to go to before the free agent signings and all that start happening. But obviously we all think, and we've said it time and time again, that the tight end position is definitely one that needs to happen. And I think we'll see where we're at once the doors open on free agency of where we can, or how we see this team playing out. I mean, depending on the transparency of it. If they're like, hey, we went after this guy, he signed here, or the Bears are in contract negotiations with, and then he signed somewhere else, right? Player, whoever. I think that's when we kind of see what the league and where we're at with this, with this team and whether it's a place of interest or not. I do think that this shit needs to get dropped on its fucking head and figured out, because this is not an offense that the league is afraid of. I mean, 29th in fucking scoring, you're not going to be – I mean, obviously the defense is going to plan for you, but I think the defense plans for more of like a, hey, if we keep them to this and that, it'll really frustrate them and we can go from there. We talk about all these weapons that we have in different positions on the offensive side, and maybe that's a little more homerish than what the league thinks of it, because all of us are like, yeah, I'll take Montgomery. Montgomery's a fucking beast. Allen Robinson, he's a beast. Miller started fucking balling out. And there's the belief in true, and then there's some that are like, on the fence. But I don't know if the rest of the league really looks at this team like that. And when you're 29th in scoring, I mean, Badge, come towards you, dude, but when you're 29th in scoring, do you really put fear into your opponent?
You absolutely do not. And that's why I think once the off season gets underway and the new league year starts, the first move you're going to see this front office make is a quarterback, because I think that's going to determine for a lot of free agents that may have the thought of coming here that they're bringing somebody in, that's worth a shit, that's going to compete with Mitch and force him to win this job. And, you're players talk in this league. I mean, that first, Nagy's first year, you had all these guys that came here, said, oh, we're coming here, we want to play with Mitch, we think this kid's going to be a phenomenal quarterback. And that first year, things went very well. Now you're this year, and things didn't go so well. So I do think this is a destination for players. I think more so on the defensive side of the ball. You get the opportunity to play with a Khalil Mack, Kyle Fuller, and Eddie Jackson. But offensively, I think if they come out and sign a quarterback to compete with Mitch that isn't a Chase Daniel or a Tyler Brace, somebody that's actually going to maybe make Mitch a better quarterback in the competition, then I think it will attract some decent players. Now, a position that I think isn't being talked about enough, that the Bears really probably should even consider a little bit more, is running back. I mean, to me, yes, David Montgomery, I love him, but Tariq Cohen, granted he's under contract for another year, Tariq Cohen is a gadget guy and nothing more than that to me. So I really think they need to find another running back, that is better than the Tariq Cohen, because I am not a Tariq Cohen fan. And I really think they're so hell-bent on making Tariq Cohen something that it hinders this offense. I agree with AC, offensive guard. I love, Shane has mentioned Brandon Sharif as well. I think tackle, somebody needs to be brought in there as well, because, what transpired after this season, clearly with the positions basically going into the season, there was no competition for any of these guys. They knew that they had a job. Well, that needs to change now. Guys, we're bringing in people, and you know what? I don't give a shit. I think Phil said it. I don't care if I'm paying you $15 million this year. If this guy's beating your ass in practice, he's starting. And that's what they need to hold these guys accountable. And they just didn't do it this season.
You think Cornelius Lucas will be back, or do you think they're going to go a different route?
He's a free agent. I was just looking at the list. He's a free agent. There's some other guys out there, that I find it hard to believe you're going to see a guy like Brian Balaga not re-signed by Green Bay. But then again, he's up there in age.
Oh, they'll re-sign him. He's going to be a Packer for life, I think.
And that's what I think, too. I'm trying to think.
But that's the same thing we thought about Clay Matthews.
Right. Well, yeah,
True.
Very good point. Jason Peters in Philly. Now, he spent most of the season hurt. But is he a guy that is somebody that could come in and, give Bobby Massey a run for his money, or Charles Leno a run for their money, just to bring in competition? Now, with that, because he's a veteran, you're going to probably have to pay him a little bit of money. But there are moves that can be made. And guys, there's guys that are on practice squads throughout this league that are just looking for the right opportunity. And they are putting in the work, and they could come in and outwork one of these guys, and I really hope they saw the error of their ways and what transpired in what was supposed to be one of the most fantastic seasons in Bears history. I really hope they don't fuck it up.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we all hope that.
Yeah. I would like to see, and I know we're talking free agents, we're talking bringing guys in here. Obviously, Pace makes his money on bringing in players that, some people still believe in and others do not. And then we try to, turn be their turnaround team. And then there's players that he brings in that, were injured and he can get a good deal on, and he, the belief is there that they're going to come back to where they were. I think we're going to need some of that, though, on this team. I don't think that we can go out and maybe one here or there, right? But I wouldn't, like, big splash free agent signings, I wouldn't say are a thing for us.
Right.
Maybe one for the offensive line, but otherwise, I think we're going to get a lot of guys, a couple journeymen, right? We're going to get guys in here. We have to do the special team side of it also.
Yep.
So, Bobby, there's a lot of dudes.
I've got the list of the Bears free agents right here. So
I'll
quickly run through it.
Go ahead.
Danny Trevathan, unrestricted.
Yep.
Kyle Long. Chase Daniel, unrestricted. HaHa Clinton Dix, unrestricted. Sherrick McManus, unrestricted. Aaron Lynch, unrestricted. He can take a fucking hike. Bradley Sowell, take a fucking hike, unrestricted. Ted Larson, unrestricted. Nick Williams, unrestricted. Cornelius Lucas, unrestricted. Patrick Scales, unrestricted. Kevin Pierre-Louis is a must re-sign, but he's unrestricted. Brett Urban, unrestricted. I thought Urban played really well. TJ Clemmings, unrestricted. DeAndre Houston Carson, he's restricted. Nick Kwiatkowski, unrestricted. Deion Bush, unrestricted. Roy Robertson Harris is restricted. Isaiah Irving, restricted. Rashad Coward, restricted. Devontae Bond, restricted. And then JP Holtz is a EFRA, whatever the fuck that means. ERFA? I don't know what ER.
Yeah.
We got him from Washington. Is that something from them or
could be? I mean, he's a restricted free agent, but I don't know what the E stands for. So that's the 22 players right there.
Exclusive rights free agent.
Oh, exclusive. Okay, there you go.
Fewer than 3 years on or accrued seasons. So he's what's it called? Not drafted. Just he's picked up afterwards. He has fewer than 3 years in the league, but he's a free agent. And that's a lot of dudes, man. And it's a lot for. I mean, granted, I don't think it's a lot of names that people who are not Bears fans or don't know this team are like, oh, we need to go get this guy or get this guy, right? But I think for us and for followers of the team, that a lot of these guys are building blocks, or they're very good with the whole, the chemistry of this team. I mean, honestly, without the injuries this year, how many people would be going after Pierre-Louis or would be going after Nick Kwiatkowski? You know what I mean? But now with them turning up and playing like this, man, they're going to have offers. Kwiatkowski, I honestly don't think that he's coming back.
I don't either, just because I think he's going to get a lot of money, and it's not something we're going to be able to,
Yeah, somebody's going to pay him, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a guy that I see out there at the guard position that could be a draw that's a free agent is Stefan Wisniewski in Kansas City. Now, Nagy was there, I mean, I don't know if I would leave playing with Patrick Mahomes to come play with Mitch Trubisky at this point, but, maybe the Chiefs aren't really looking, to lock him up and spend a bunch of dough. Maybe the Bears offer him, something halfway decent, and there's a guy you can lock up to help that offensive line that is played in this offense and is familiar with it, that could be a benefit. Just sticking and thinking offensive line-wise. I find it hard to believe that he would come here, but, hey, anything's possible.
Yeah,
hey, somebody told me, speaking of Conklin, speaking of the Titans, Jack Conklin, their right tackle, they were talking about it in the chat room on 100 Proof. I was hopped in while I was on lunch at work, and they were talking about him being a free agent. Now, he might take some money, but, I mean, he'd be a fucking huge upgrade at the right tackle position. I don't know if he's wanting to leave Tennessee or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but there's so many guys out there, right, that this team that they're going to have to take a shot on. And I know we're saying, how earlier we're talking about on the defensive side of the ball with Tolliver. Like, Tolliver's going to have to step up and do this, do that. Don't forget, I mean, we got other guys that are still in waiting. There's Steven Denmark is still sitting there.
That's true. He had a redshirt year, basically.
Yeah. I mean, we got guys that have grown with this team and guys that have produced when needed, i.e., Quit and KPL. We got Bars. There's still guys around that can grow another year with this team, and maybe they're comfortable with some of these dudes. I mean, if we get rid of Prince and then Denmark trots out there, and it's Denmark versus Tolliver for the other side, the offensive line gets, Bars becomes a starter and this and that. I mean, there's still pieces on this team.
We didn't see Bars at all.
Right. So there's still pieces on this team that I think maybe can fill the next man up role. So I'm not saying like, hey, we're losing 22 people and we need to go out and go fucking hardcore shopping. But there is going to be a lot of, I know they don't like it, I don't think, but there are going to be a lot of utility guys that we need to bring in and special teams guys that we need to be in. And some people love being a special teams guy and say that that's where, they love playing there. When we had Duke Shelley on Badge, he straight up said, like, he's like, that's where you prove your worth. That's where you get in and this happens. So I think there's a lot of guys in the league that we can still get. But then again, there's question marks on this team, and who's going to fill that spot, we don't know. I don't think any of us this season would have been comfortable if somebody told us at the beginning that Trevathan would go down and Roquan would go down, and you got KPL and Nick Kwiatkowski. Like, how do you feel about that?
But
right? All of us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think there's other things, too, though, that factor into this, too, in regards to personnel decisions. I know we talked about it earlier, but, having the right guys on the field for a majority of the times, you look at a guy like Cordero Patterson. This guy should be on the field more than he's being used. Yes, definitely. I get that he's a great special teams player. He's going to the Pro Bowler, but this guy can make an impact on this field anytime the ball is in his hands. So you have to make sure this guy is out there for those reasons. I mean, early on in the season, he wasn't used. And then, I mean, Bobby, you were at training camp. You guys saw him lining up at tight end. Why didn't we do this when our tight ends were struggling?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, that's the type of stuff that, yes, we could bring in every fucking top free agent under the sun, but if the coaching staff doesn't get the right guys in the right situations, in the right positions, and executing, it ain't gonna fucking matter. And that's the coaching staff, Ryan Pace, these guys really need to focus on and look back at this season all the way back. They tape practices. They need to go back and gut check themselves. Pace said it. Nagy said it. It's going to be a gut check. You better gut check, because we talked about it in the bye week and said, hopefully these offensive linemen gut check themselves. Hopefully, and Charles Leno came out and said, the penalties aren't penalties. Charles, you should have said to yourself, I'm not playing good football. Well, that to me is a coaching issue. The coaches have to start holding guys accountable. And once that happens, I really think this can be like 2 years ago. I don't want to bring it up, but it really can be. But these guys got to want it. And you just didn't see it this year.
Yeah. I think so too, though. I think the belief is there, and we all, I would assume that we all still believe that this team has playoff personnel, has playoff mentality, and can do it. But do I think the players can get there and do it? Yeah. Do I think the coaches can? I don't know. I'm not certain that the coaches are playoff caliber, but I know it sounds weird, but I think that, that's what I'm trying to say. But I don't believe that the coaches are all playoff caliber, but I believe that the players are, and they just need to get them to where they're all executing, together and getting shit done the right way, man. You can't be a playoff team being the 29th offense in the fucking league, right?
Yeah.
You can't this shit just doesn't happen. So the defense was still great. This defense was still a top fucking defense.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's really no question mark in my mind on Pagano. There's not. I mean, I get it. Yeah, he's got a lot of weapons and this and that, whatever. But he also faced a lot of adversity this year with Akeem Hicks going down,
dude.
Roquan
Totally.
going down, Trevathan going down, Floyd not playing well. You know what I mean? He faced a lot of adversity this year, and I think that he successfully pulled through that. You know, Mac not getting the sack numbers. Like, there's a lot of shit for this defense that happened this year, and a lot of people think that they fell off, but they really didn't. There's just the big spots that were there last year weren't there. Like,
you didn't have the big plays from the defense. That's what we lost.
The Deion Sanders high step into the end zone interceptions and celebrations and Motown, and you know what I mean. So I believe in Pagano. I think he's exactly what we need over there. I think he's a perfect fit for Vic. And now we need to see Nagy. Hopefully this was just a sophomore slump. But then again, when offensive coordinators or head coaches, whatever you want to call them, right? The first year, nobody had tape on this dude. Now they do. And we've seen what happened. So he really needs to, like you were saying, do this gut check and get in there and fucking get this team to believe in themselves and believe in his play calling, because I don't think that that's something that's happening right now.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, dude.
I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see where they go from here. You know, and we'll pop in every now and then throughout the off season and get together. But you know, as a wrap up show, as the last seasonal, I guess we'll call it, show for the original Barfly Tailgate show. You know, we're missing Brother Gaines today, but Brother Gaines, damn, you know, we appreciate you and all your hard work this season, and of course we'll keep on in touch with you in the off season. Gaines is out doing his thing, but unless you guys got anything else crazy, let's go around the room for little shout outs or wrap up or year end or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And you know, get to this off season and try to push from here. I'm going to start this thing with Mr. Ryan KB. KB, go ahead, man. You got any seasonal shout outs or wrap it up or whatever, man? Fire away.
Seasonal wrap outs, man. You know, it's legal in Chicago now, so hey, smoke weed every day. I'm playing. No, that's not it, man. Man, shout out to the fans, man. Thanks for sticking with us. You know what I'm saying, through this up and down year. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Barroom for giving me this opportunity to get in here and talk with you boys, man. Because I mean, this has been a hell of a season, man, and it's a lot of downs. And having you boys there, man, you know what I'm saying? It helps you get through some of them nights where you just want to beat the shit out your pillow. So shout out to everybody in the Barroom, man. And fans, stick with us, man, because it's still going to be other shows going on, man. You know what I'm saying? Your boys still going to be popping up from time to time on other things. But, you know what I'm saying? We love y'all, man. I love y'all boys, man. I love the fans. I love everything, y'all. Just know that, man. Peace and love. Let's get through this off season and run this back and be successful, man.
Hell yeah, man. Well put. Mr. AC, the bearded Bears fan, coming over to you, man. Little seasonal wrap outs, and we'll get this thing going.
Well, weed's not legal down here, so we ain't smoking weed every day. But I wanted to say shout out to y'all, man. I love coming on here every week, even though the year didn't turn out the way we planned. It kind of helps to be able to come on here and vent and see my weekly psychiatrist. Fuck, I can't even talk. I swear to God, I'm not drunk. But it feels good to come on here and just talk, man, and chat with you guys. And I know Badge and them are gonna have us locked down this off season with the draft on tap. I wanted to throw this in here. I sent Aldo a message. The boy, Logan Stenberg, I think I talked about him a week or two ago, the guard from Kentucky. He's going to be, as far as I know, he's going to be down in Mobile. So if y'all are looking to chat with somebody, maybe y'all can try to get an interview with him. That would be really cool. I wanted to say big shout out to all the Barflies for sticking with us through all this shit, this bad season. Sitting here watching the fucking playoffs and we ain't in it. I wanted to give a special shout out to Lady Bear 83. don't get to hop on the live chat very often, but every time I do, she's always like, "Hey, AC, what's going on?" and everything. So, want to give her a little shout out, and shout out to Shane and Phil and Aldo. You know, they keep this whole thing running with the 100 proof. Big shout out to Phil. He does that. What's he call it? Last call. I swear to God, if I was on that show, I'd be getting future endeavored by fucking Aldo. Because so hold your cool after all the shit. And Phil doesn't really hold his cool, but whatever. But after all that shit, man, to be able to come on and recap everything, like I said, that's tough to do with your emotions running high. But a big shout out to you guys. I can't wait to do this again next year. Obviously, I feel like we'll have a few shows this off season. Probably talk some draft, talk some free agency. Yep. If Ryan Pace throws his hand in a trade or two, we might be able to hop on and talk about that too, which would be really cool. I can't stress this enough. I appreciate the opportunity this year. I've always been a rabid Bears fan, and my family, my wife. I love my wife to death, but she gets tired of hearing me talk about football. And everybody around here, that y'all are just like me. You're just huge fans, and you talk about it. You eat, sleep, and breathe Bears football, and it helps to talk with like-minded guys about, and gals, I guess, if we ever had a female on, about Bears football and everything that's going on.
Hell yeah, man. Well put. And yeah, it is. It's an outlet, and it's it's a great way to relieve the stress of that game or of the season, or talk about this and that. And like you were saying, man, it's not like, some people might agree with what we say, some might disagree. But it's not, we're not given like the perfect fucking scenario. We're just giving opinions.
We're fucking homers. Bottom line,
it's okay. Yeah, it's okay to disagree. Like it's okay. I disagree with some of my best friends on shit, but whatever, man. It's just the way it goes. And it's an outlet to get out there and doing it. Badge, we'll let you go ahead and hit yours. I'll close this thing out. We'll wrap this what could have been season up, man, and then do a couple in the off season. But go ahead, take it away, Badge.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. So first off, Ryan Cox, man, such great news to see on Twitter, man. So happy that Spencer's doing well, and everything seems to be on the positive and on the way up, man. And just hope and pray that it continues to be that way for you guys, man. The Barflies, man, I don't thank them enough. I mean, without you guys, the Barflies, man, we wouldn't be out here doing this, and we just appreciate it so much. You guys are all awesome. We love doing this for you guys, man, and we really appreciate you guys listening in and providing feedback and following the Barfly Tailgate account on Twitter. And then Jamie Dragani, the bald girl, she has just totally changed the Badge of Honor segment with the balls that she makes for us and the great work she puts in, man. She's working on a couple right now for me for one of our past guests, and I know they're going to be out of bounds. Aldo Gandia, Shane Marsoff, Phil Atoshin, Mike North, my buddy from Draft on Tap, Mr. Danny Shimon, John Buffone, Alyssa Barbieri, Greg Braggs Jr., Joe Mandel, John Santucci, our boy Gaines, who couldn't be with us tonight. He's doing that thing. Miss him not being here, man, but we appreciate you, dude. Love having you on. KB, AC, man, it was a pleasure to add you guys to the show, man. Like, having you guys come on, man, you guys didn't miss a beat, man. It was awesome to have you boys on this season. And my brother Bobby protecting the world right now from all the chaos. If he's got to fucking light up a nuke and drop it on somebody's ass, he's going to do it, because that's my boy and I support him 100%. Can't wait till he's back in the States so I can give him a giant fucking bear hug and welcome him home and all that shit. So, just looking forward. Stay with us in the off season. Draft on Tap. This next week's show, we're going to start focusing in on the prospects that the Bears could possibly be looking at, and what positions they're really going to be looking at. So every Thursday night, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. You can find us on Mixler.com. Pop in the chat. Aldo Gandia joins us from time to time. And then don't forget about us being down in Mobile for the Senior Bowl. Aldo and Danny will be there Monday through Thursday. I'll join Aldo on Thursday. I think Danny departs then. And we'll bring you a bunch of live content from the Senior Bowl. So really excited for that.
Yeah, definitely, man. And like you said, Draft on Tap, they're going to tell you where we need to be filled up at, how this team is going to be rebuilt. Badge and Danny are going to take it to them. And then my shout-outs, man, obviously Aldo, Shane, Phil. We ain't doing this without any of you guys. And then all of you dudes, man, to come in with the dedication and hard work this year and just kick it, man, and just go after, our thoughts or what we – what transpired and all that. Appreciate all your guys' time, and our schedules don't always match up, but all of us have taken, we've sacrificed something to be here with each other, and I appreciate it, man. And the way you guys come is just fucking great. To all the fans, everybody who downloads, downloads were fucking outrageous this year, and we appreciate you guys. It's good. It's great to do this together, but it's also, there's a sense of pride when there's people who actually like listening to it. To do it and not have anybody listening would be kind of fucking senseless. But we appreciate all. Yeah,
Just throwing shit at the wall, see if it sticks, right?
But we appreciate that, man. And then. We'll get this thing going, man, and we'll have a couple in the off season, and we'll throw a little thing out there. I'll be back in the States, and the guys will be around. We'll throw a little thing out there with what games we're going to attend, maybe where the draft party's going to be, and try to hook up with some people next year and, go out there and do the whole no shit tailgate experience, because it definitely is something that I missed this year being overseas. But it's probably one of the best parts of the game. And, and then back to camp.
Yeah.
Back to camp, and I'll be there. I know Aldo will be there. Greg will be there. Joe will be there for some of them, I'm sure. KB, he'll be there. If we all fucking get together at camp, that'd be great too. And we'll see how this thing goes, man. It's another year that's going to be promising, I feel, because we all know how this goes. We're going to get to April, and we're going to be like, oh, damn, they got it. Like, we got this. Here we go. And hopefully it's not the fucking Detroit Lions type promise where they just fucking shit down their leg. But, yeah, that's about it, man.
The Lions and Vikings this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the only team in the North that Nagy's lost to is the Packers. But, hey. It is what it is, and it's a tough ass division too. But for everybody out there, man, we appreciate you guys' support this season. And let's just get back on this train and get this Bears thing going. We appreciate the love and support, and we'll end this season with a fucking bear down.
Bear down.
Bear down.